me on Skype this afternoon from Shefa, Yamim. I'm joined by James Campbell. James, good afternoon. Nice to have you with us once again.
Good afternoon, Andrew. Nice to be with you.
Look, it's early days here, of course, but 2019, a new year. How's it started off so far for Shefa, Yamim?
Andrew, we're very excited about 2019. During the course of last year, we did extensive exploration work on the Kishon Mid-Reach Zone 1 and Zone 2. And in fact, on Zone 1, we recovered just under 10,000 carats of stones from the bulk sampling. What this has enabled us to do is to set the scene for 2019 in terms of delivery of a technical economic evaluation study, which would give the operating and capital cost parameters for the mine. And very excitingly, we started off with the marketing venture with world-renowned jeweler Yossi Harari. So if you bring these three things together, along with the attendant licensing and permitting, which is absolutely vital, we've set the scene for trial mining towards the end of this year.
I want to talk more about some of the specifics about what's happening on the ground shortly, but I think it was only a couple of days ago you had an announcement around Carmeltazite, a mineral found in one of your gemstones, officially being recognised here as a new mineral by the International Mineralogical Association. So quite a significant development here for you.
Andrew, it is a very significant development. In fact, what is unique about Mount Carmel and the geology around it is the abundance of this unique mineral assemblage, which does include diamond, moissanite, ruby, sapphire, garnet, and of course, within the Carmel sapphire itself, the newly found Carmeltazite. And what is quite interesting about this is not only its uniqueness and rarity, which we believe which will have significant marketing value, but these minerals, along with zircon, which have been dated by Professor Bill Griffin from Macquarie University in Australia, these have been dated at Neoproterozoic in age, which is between 1 and 1.5 billion years old, and have basically formed in rocks of Jurassic and Cretaceous age, in the form of vents or plumes, which sampled some 90 kilometers in the mantle itself. And all of this has gone in to form a unique kimberlitic volcanic style eruptions within Mount Carmel. And then what we've been specifically focused on are the alluvial product from that in the Kishon Mid-Reach Zone 1 and Zone 2.
I mean, as far as what's being found here, we're talking about what is fair to say, it's a relatively young country. Has it taken you by surprise as to just what is being discovered here?
Andrew, yes, it's a very, very good point you've made there. Israel sits on the Rift Valley system, which are very, very young rocks. But what we found in Mount Carmel are old rocks with minerals which date back to the early stages of diamond genesis in the planet itself, going back to 1.5 billion years old. So it is very, very unusual. And I think what adds to that uniqueness is this assemblage of high pressure, high temperature minerals, of course characterized by diamond and moissanite and many others, which does make this a very unique occurrence.
And importantly for Shefa, this will, I would imagine, increase the value of your gem box of precious stones.
Of course, not only do you have the location in Mount Carmel in Israel itself, but you have the uniqueness of this combination of jewels, which we anticipate Yossi Harari will truly bring out in a combination, a unique combination of minerals, probably centered around the Carmel sapphire.
And what is the latest on that collection he's putting together?
Well, he's making very, very good progress on that, and we hope to make an announcement on that during the first quarter of this year. But of course, Yossi Harari's channel is only one of many which we are looking at in terms of eventually marketing the product itself.
Just one of many channels, you say, but of course this is a big deal. He's a well-known designer.
Absolutely, and he produces very unique branded jewelry, typically aimed at the high net worth individuals in the United States, who we believe will have a close affinity to the kind of product we'll produce from the Mount Carmel area.
Oh, very good. So right, back to what's happening on the ground then. Zone 1, all eyes on trial mining, and you've set yourself that target before the end of the year. Is that right?
That's correct. We've done a considerable amount of resource development work, particularly drilling. We've done 137 drilling holes. We've recovered over 10,000, just under 10,000 carats itself. We are very close in terms of concluding all the permits required, in terms of going into trial mining itself. And during the first quarter of this year too, we plan on announcing the results of a technical, economic and evaluation study, which will give indicative capital and operating cost parameters for a mine on the Kishon Mid-Reach Zone 1.
As far as that trial mining, I suppose the small-scale mining is another term to describe what the focus will be here. Is there any other specifics as to what you'll be looking at in particular?
Well, obviously, when one does a technical economic study like this, there are a number of different parameters which you look at to arrive at a mining rate. In particular, it's guided by the volume of the deposit itself, the amount of overburden, the habitation and the vegetation in the area, your various sample processing methodologies and recovering. And because of the uniqueness of the mineral assemblage itself, it doesn't kind of lend itself to very large scale mining. So we're typically talking about a small scale mining approach, at least to begin with. One of the important aspects of that too, as well, is in resource development of this kind of deposit, you look at three main parameters. You look at volume, which we've got nicely tied down. You look at grade, which again, we've actually got nicely tied down. And thirdly, and very importantly, you look at price. The price of the jewel box themselves. And that's where Yossi Harari and his design work is going to provide a very indicative pricing. And as you go down the trial mining strategy, you will actually then have much more definitive pricing. So at the same time as producing valuable income to the company, you will also be moving up the resource classification curve too as well.
And zone 2 here, James, the exploration efforts, how are they coming along?
Well, we've done 49 drill holes in Zone 2 itself. We've taken 25 bulk samples, and we have considerably more drilling and bulk sampling to take place during the course of this year. One could almost call that resource extension work, although we have yet to get a resource on zone number 1. So trial mining will focus very much on zone number 1. And by the time we've actually commenced the trial mining on zone number 1, we would have undertaken considerable work in zone 2, so we can expand the trial mining from zone 1 to zone 2.
Certainly a lot to look forward to. Do you reckon the Shefa Yamim story, more importantly, I suppose, the potential here, do you get a feeling that it's well understood by the market?
Actually, Andrew, it's a very, very good question. I think at the moment, many small cap junior resource development or near production companies are being hampered because of the uncertainty around Brexit and possibly the uncertainty on a global macroeconomic scale. But one of the things that does separate Shefa Yamim from many other companies, in fact, two things. Firstly, it is not just an exploration company. It will soon be a production company. So in fact, we're a resource development company. And the second thing is we have a unique assemblage of minerals, which we believe will attract a significant premium from a marketing perspective. And I think possibly, you touched on it earlier, Andrew, is there perhaps is a bit of a sense of disbelief that a young geological country such as Israel can produce such valuable high-pressure, high-temperature minerals, which are chiefly found on cratons and very old pieces of crust. And I think that that information, particularly as we've got it out around Carmeltazite, will begin to actually give confidence to investors. This is all very real. It's a very real company with a great management team and a great board of directors doing very strong technical and academic work in order to deliver a trial mine during the course of this year.
And I suppose once in production, an important aspect here for the company is the market itself. How healthy is the market for these minerals and stones?
Well, interestingly, the coloured stone market is a fast-growing market, particularly in the United States. And from what we see in the United States, that I'm not sure if your listeners are aware, but around 30% of the world's diamonds are actually sold between Thanksgiving and New Year in the United States alone. And of course, following that, there are large sales of colored gemstones and colored diamonds. And in fact, the colored diamond and colored gemstone market has been doing extraordinarily well over the past 5 years and greatly exceeding inflation growth indices.
James, always good to speak. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. And I look forward to giving you an update as and when it comes.